So this afternoon we're going to try Bass Ale, which was originally brewed in England, and then there was some time that it was brewed in America, and then it went to Ireland. But since 2012, it's brewed by Anheiser Busch in the United States. So that's an interesting piece of information I did not know until I looked it up, so I was trying to make sure that I had it characterized correctly. So the category for this beer is 8C, which is an English Pale Ale. The subcategory is Extra Special Strong Bitter, which is an English Pale Ale. And it's actually listed as one of the commercial examples for this category. It has some sweetness to it. It does kind of have a hoppy finish. I want to say like a roasty caramel sweetness, but it's definitely subtle. Everything is very subtle here. I have to say, I don't think I've ever had Bass by itself. I usually have it as a black and tan, which was how I was drinking it last night, and so I figured I should at least give it a try by itself. So color-wise, it is a beautiful, rich, golden, kind of copper color. It did pour with a little bit of head, but it dissipated, so there's nothing left here on top. And on to flavor. It has a little bit of bitterness to it, but it's really mellowed out by the hop kind of sweetness. But it's not, and it's sweetness just a little bit. Like initially I got some sweetness out of that, and it finishes with a bitter taste. But in between that, it's like, I don't want to say nutty. Kind of a biscuity flavor to it. So I don't get a lot of alcohol flavor, although that could be appropriate for this style. This is 5.1% alcohol by volume, so we're not going to get that out of it. It has a pretty good dry finish. Kind of a light body. It has a nice sparkling carbonation. I don't think that I would call it heavily carbonated or lightly carbonated, but it definitely sparkles. A little bit of astringent, drying finish on the tongue. The aftertaste is very, very subtle. And that's where that really biscuity kind of quality really comes out. So the 3 stages for this particular beer, the flavor is sweetness, the finish is kind of a hot bitterness, and then the aftertaste goes back to like a toasty, biscuity kind of a flavor. So my overall impression of this beer, it's very drinkable. It's a pale ale, and a pale ale is really designed to be pretty subtly flavored. It's like the English version of American lagers, really, and it's even reminiscent of that particular style. I think it pairs really nicely with a stout because it doesn't have any overwhelming flavors that would crash into the stout flavors, and so it just blends in nicely. I think it's pretty good beer. It seems like it fits all the characteristics for this particular style. And it's not an aggressive hopping like we get with out of American pale ales, particularly Indian pale ales. But that it does have some hot bitterness to it, which is appropriate for this particular style, and it's actually in with a strong bitter category. So A little bit of history. Strong bitters can be seen as a higher gravity version of the best bitters, though not necessarily more premium, since best bitters are traditionally the brewer's finest product. Since beer is sold by strength in the UK, these beers often have some alcohol flavor, perhaps to let the consumer know that they're getting their due. In England, today, ESB is a brand unique to Fuller's. In America, the name has been co-opted to describe a malty, bitter, reddish standard strength for the US English type ale. Hopping can be English or a combination of English and American. And so, comments: more evident malt and hop flavors than a special or a best bitter. Stronger versions may overlap somewhat with old ales, although strong bitters will tend to be paler and more bitter. Some modern English variants are brewed exclusively with pale malt and are known as golden or summer bitters. Most bottled or keg versions of UK-produced bitters are higher alcohol versions than their cask or draught products, produced specifically for export. The IBU levels are often not adjusted, so the versions available in the U.S. do not directly correspond to their style subcategories in Britain. English pale ales are generally considered premium, export-strength, pale, bitter beer. That roughly approximates a strong bitter, although reformulated for bottling, including containing higher carbonation. So what we're seeing in what would be an English sold to the English market, ale is going to be different than what we're getting here in the American market. So higher carbonation, and like I was saying, it has a nice sparkling carbonation to it. Part of that is for bottling purposes, and so that kind of just allows for some variation, especially when there's an American company that's brewing that style, an English style of beer. So overall impression, again, it's drinkable. It's a pretty good beer. It's nothing that's very, very exciting, and I feel like it's a beer that American premium lager drinkers are going to appreciate a lot. So if you haven't tried Bass, I definitely suggest that you give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. Share with me down below your thoughts about this particular beer, or if you go out and try it based on this review, let me know that as well. I'd love to hear. Thank you, and have a great afternoon.